Hello everybody, welcome back. Today is January 12th and we're doing robot and nonsense stories to round out your week.
We'll start out with a story that we've already covered in some ways, but it seems to be getting more and more steam behind it, and that is the idea of always being able to tell what an AI has created.
A global watermarking standard could help safeguard elections in the ChatGPT era. Basically, your cameras are going to have cryptographic hardware that sign the images, so that if somebody tampers with the image, it's going to invalidate the signature.
But they also want that to be added to the language model generated stuff itself. Now, there's no actual plan here. Joe Buccino, they point out at the bottom here, is he's from retired U.S. Army colonel with the U.S. Department of Defense Innovation Board, CENTCOM. So basically, Joe is, buttering us up for more control. And that's a big worry I have here. But first, let's look at a more specific example.
Sony, Canon, and Nikon set to combat deepfakes with digital signature tech in future cameras. Now, you can still use those cameras to take pictures of something that has been staged.
So the worry I have here is that we will get to a point where anything that isn't tagged with this, everybody's just going to be like, oh no, that's not real. I don't believe that. And then the people that control the tags, i.e. the government and the corporations, will then have a monopoly on the truth. And anybody trying to dispute that truth will be rejected because they don't have the proper marks.
Where is your registered journalist signature images of
exactly.
the event?
Exactly, right. Yeah.
It's a new version of pics or it didn't happen, but it's like registered pics or it didn't happen.
Yeah.
It also makes things traceable. So it's just like, now it would be a shame if these pictures got out and something bad happened to your family as a result. It's like, whoa, what? That's not good. That's bad.
Also, a new avenue for the alphabet agencies, they could just steal your camera, take pictures of horrible things, and wait for that to play out.
If you want a preview of side effects from this kind of technology, we already have one with color laser printers. The government was so worried about color laser printers being used for counterfeit purposes, they convinced everybody that makes color laser printers to embed micro dots on a sheet of paper. And that sounds like a conspiracy theory, but it's a real thing. Color laser printers put invisible marks on the page that include its serial number, the time things were printed, etc., etc. And it's easy to recover that information from the image to learn stuff that you maybe didn't intend if you were sharing. So like if you were leaking evidence of crimes or wrongdoing and someone wants to track you down, there's a lot more information you're giving away than you realize.
And the big story for Google for 2023, I think, was that Google search is awful and it's getting worse. It's spiraling downward and AI-generated content is accelerating that.
All search is getting worse.
Yeah.
So what can we do? Well, we take the thing that poisoned it, that being AI trash, and somehow we use that to make it better.
Search startup Perplexity AI valued at $520 million in funding from Bezos and Nvidia. Basically, they're going to use AI to look at the thing and try to figure out what you want.
It's going to be a tough thing to take over Google. And if that starts to work, imagine what Google will do to them. It's going to be fun to watch.
Meanwhile, we'll continue to suffer through bad search results either way.
Now, it's interesting because for years, we only saw headlines about how good AI was at predicting diseases and stuff like that. But now it seems the tide has turned.
ChatGPT bombs tests on diagnosing kids' medical cases with 83% error rate. It's like, look, it's Dr. House on clinic hours.
Yeah, it's like they picked a stock image but didn't realize it was from a TV show.
No, they reference him in the article.
Yeah, Dr. Greg House.
But he was always right.
That's the point. Like, you're still better off with a fictional genius than you are.
Well, who was debating that? I remember we talked about like Wendell shortly after you got like kind of ill. You were like thinking it was going to be like a Dr. House situation, and it was like, no, it's like 20 doctors and none of them know what's wrong with you.
Yeah. Fun times.
The other thing about AI is that currently not making a ton of money. Unfortunately, I am giving them their monthly stipend.
Pound of flesh, yeah.
It's so good. Are you doing the GPT-4? It's shockingly good, isn't it?
It's overpriced, but it is so easy. It does, automate so many things in my life. But that is not the only one out there, and the other ones are looking to get the same treatment.
Google is preparing a paid version of Bard because it thinks Bard is good. Bard's actually improved a lot. I'll give him credit. Bard has actually gotten a lot better since the first time I played with it.
You just throw a few gold coins to Bard.
Well, no, it's not that simple. You have to already be a subscriber to Google One. And then I think you have to pay another fee on top of that to be a part of Bard's, I can't remember what they call it, but their paid version.
If you're not doing experiments with local AI models for what you can get to run locally, they're surprisingly good. They're every bit as competent as, they're 95% as competent as ChatGPT 3.5. And if you're willing to mix and match models for different tasks, you can probably get better than a ChatGPT 3.5 experience.
The other big controversy that's been cropping up recently is the data set. Now, last week we learned that one of the big data sets had the worst thing ever. Actually, it wasn't last week, was it? This was this week.
It was this week,
It was New Year's Day. And now we're finding out that maybe this one isn't quite as bad, but it is stealing, as they all do, and you can cherry pick some really nasty things that it stole.
Database of 16,000 artists used to train Midjourney AI, including 6-year-old child. Garners criticism because of that. But what if you need to ask the AI? You need to draw this like a 6-year-old child. The AI needs to know what a 6-year-old child's drawings look like.
So this kid won a contest with Wizards of the Coast and was allowed to design like a special Magic the Gathering card.
Oh.
So they stole the entire Magic the Gathering data set and got this one with it. And Cruise, actually maybe of all the tech companies, Cruise maybe had the worst 2023.
Yeah.
Pretty much everything that went bad.
It's amazing that it's not tanked yet, considering like they've lost a lot of people and they have a lot of bad press.
It takes a long time for these big corporations to die. They got big backers. But we find out that all that time, they did have a special superpower that we didn't really even know about. And certainly the San Franciscans didn't know about it.
Driverless cars immune from traffic tickets in California under current laws because they don't have a human driver. So how do you give it a ticket?
Arizona and New Mexico have already rectified this. I guess it just goes to the company.
Neat.
So they're looking to change that law. And let's harken back to the early days of language models and AI taking over, even DeepMind, where week after week we were just peppered from the mainstream media with AI is not going to cost jobs. It's just simply not going to happen. AI is going to work with people. It's going to be a utopia, but people will always be a part of the equation.
Samsung is planning human-free, fully automated fabs within 6 years. Elon Musk's prediction of a jobless future is looking increasingly likely.
But it won't take my high skill job. That'll never happen.
So, yeah, they are saying we literally have the plan right now to have nothing but robots in these fabs. There'll be a couple of humans still managing it from another room somewhere, but there'll be no contamination in this room. Nobody goes in.
Your just filthy skin cells still stay in a different part of the building.
And luckily, even though we didn't have very many news stories this week, did actually find a black hole story. And this is promising because maybe we'll start to unlock the secrets of the black holes even more.
XpoSat, India launches space mission to study black holes. This is from the BBC. So the basis of this was, hey, maybe the missing matter in the universe, because like if you run the math and you look at the visible universe, it's like there's a lot of matter missing. Maybe it is black holes, because if the universe is 15 billion years old, there's a lot of those first generation of stars that have collapsed. Maybe more of them have collapsed into black holes than we realize, and maybe that's the missing mass. They're not big black holes, so they're hard to detect from far away.
India's going to find them, though.
Yeah, maybe.
Well, there's only one other satellite right now doing this kind of thing. It's older, so maybe we'll get some black hole lore in 2024. That'd be nice. And the slow news week did not stop the BBC from carrying out yet another hit piece against Elon Musk.
Though I wouldn't be surprised.
He might deserve this one. Yeah, this is not shocking that he might behave in this manner.
SpaceX accused of unlawfully firing staff critical of Elon Musk. Certainly, with what we've seen with the Twitter staff and the Twitter takeover, definitely has not played out in SpaceX. No, don't say that. That's crazy.
Wasn't Tesla accused of, I mean, like, that's not surprising at all based on everything we've ever read.
They said Tesla that he was toxic,
Yeah.
that he was racist, that he didn't go in for safety. You know what I forgot to put in here? Did you see another guy got gored by a Tesla robot?
Oh, no, I didn't see that.
They're going to have to work on their safeties.
Who knew getting rid of all the safety tape on the floor was a bad idea?
Somebody needs to tell Elon that go fast and break things does not mean that.
At least, yeah, not when there's human lives involved.
Go fast and gore humans. They called him a distraction and an embarrassment. But apparently after that came out, they were all interviewed very hostilely and then immediately fired.
Fabulous.
Moving on to nonsense. Brazil had a Christmas magic wish. They thought, you know what would be beautiful? Remember that time during, was it World War I where they stopped fighting?
Yeah, over the no man's land, the English and the
Christmas-
Germans came across and like had a feast together.
The unofficial Christmas truce where the worst possible thing stopped and they had fellowship. Well, Brazil said, why can't we just do that with our prisons?
Brazil jails. Hundreds of inmates use Christmas release to escape.
I love it as an idea, but maybe there should have been some more safeguards in
Well,
place.
there was actually a process. Like, they didn't just let anybody. You had to have a history of being good, well-behaved, and blah, blah, blah.
Non-violent, yeah.
And but that wasn't good enough because apparently a lot of people use that to just, it's like, I'm going to disappear now. It's fine.
Maybe not do that next year. It's a fun idea.
It's a nice idea. It's a beautiful thought, but I think with that World War I example, they actually never did that again because at that point it was hard to get the soldiers to actually fire at each other. So they shifted all of the troops so that way they wouldn't be in the same trench again.
Oh, because they had the
They'd had the
fellowship,
camaraderie, and they didn't want to shoot at each other anymore.
Imagine that.
Yeah.
Well, if you, like many of us, can't afford health care going into this next year,
The Europeans laughing distantly.
you are going to have some problems. They're going to come up. Actually, I think this is in the UK, so that doesn't make any sense. But when you are exploring alternative medicine, and I'm not saying that you shouldn't, because the normal healthcare is definitely flawed, but do your research because maybe this one was a bad idea for this young lady.
Man pleads not guilty after Lewes woman dies at a slap therapy workshop. And if that hasn't gotten you interested in the article, yeah, apparently there's a workshop where alternative medicine is people slap themselves or each other. Well, a 71-year-old slapped a 68-year-old, or a 68-year-old slapped a 71-year-old, and she died.
That was a lot of healing.
It was too much. It reset.
And this is not the first time we've seen this one, but I think this one was a little bit more involved. Now, unfortunately, they are not willing to tell us which part of the metaverse this was. They do call it the metaverse. I don't think they're talking about necessarily the metaverse, just the whole VR online thing.
Mark Zuckerberg's like, oh, we added legs and this happens immediately.
Yeah, and I don't know. I mean, they say that this is the same as a regular one. I think that's downplaying real assaults.
Police investigate assault in a virtual world on girl's avatar. And they aren't giving us any details at all about any of the circumstances. It seems like maybe the girl was underage at the time, maybe, but maybe not. I don't know.
I mean, like, ignoring the VR part to some extent, I mean, it would be kind of like sliding into an underage girl's DMs.
It's reprehensible, certainly. I mean, it's something that we should probably try to stop. But at the same time, the only thing she had to do to stop it at any time would be to do this.
Right.
I mean,
yes,
you have
but you would still investigate someone harassing someone over like a Facebook message or something if it's underage.
But is it the same crime? Should we call that a new crime?
They
do point out that in the letter of the law, it says there has to be physical contact.
But it can still be harassment.
Yeah, so you might have to charge it under something else. There'd probably be a lawyer question.
There should be also and there probably is, where it's just like, erase this person from my metaverse, right? Like a block list.
Block them, yeah. But again, if the person was underage, then it becomes a criminal matter. So, I don't know.
Well, the threshold for criminal matters in the minds of most of the populace seems to be lower and lower and lower because I guess we're just all entitled and we think that every little inconvenience should be solved by the daddy government.
Lost nose ring, bad haircut, and waiting for food among the top 911 nuisance calls this year in British Columbia.
I'm assuming this only happened, like, there's probably not very many instances of it, but I do love the idea of someone calling over a bad haircut.
So here's the top 10.
Asked for directions home. The traffic light was taking too long. They lost a nose ring. Their Airbnb host canceled their reservation.
Oh, what was that guy from
Complained about a pothole. I could understand that one if you're just really dumb.
I would think you would call the city, though, not
Yeah.
911, which is emergency.
The McDonald's order was taking too long.
Well, the barber gave him a bad haircut one. You think they were still in the chair?
Excuse me, I have to make a call.
They were having a heated argument, and it's just like, I gotta do this. Okay.
And you know what? I sorted these wrong because I was in a little bit of a hurry. But this is another alternative medicine cautionary tale.
Man treated in hospital after injecting himself with his own
Fluids.
And he discharged himself before he could be properly treated. So this is just, I don't
He
know.
discharged himself.
This is, maybe we should just let it go, and then he can volunteer for the Darwin Awards.
No, because he's going to come back with a much worse thing that the people are going to have to pay for. So this guy had back pain, and he decided that he would inject into his arm his own fluids for 1.5 years, once a month. And that caused problems, as you might imagine. But the doctors said that they painstakingly researched, like, where could he have gotten this idea? They can't find anything. There's no, like...
Does he need you have a mental health evaluation? I think, doesn't schizophrenia usually appear in your late 20s, early 30s?
But he had no explanation of why he thought it would work. But he did. And I think he's going to keep doing it. And it's basically just depressing. But this is the world we live in.
The Reuters headline is, Drugmakers are set to raise U.S. prices on at least 500 drugs in January. This is retaliation for insulin being $35 now.
Why are they punishing us so?
Because it makes a lot of money.
Because it makes a lot of money, and because we are powerless to do anything to control the industry.
Well, we're not completely powerless. You can just make your own medicine at home. Don't do this.
Mushrooms' popularity is booming, but so are poisoning, experts warn.
This is someone who used an app. This is why you can't trust an app. You need to go out with an instructor and learn first person.
A lot of the mushroom apps were made by app enthusiasts that do not love mushrooms, and they were just like, I can just copy paste from this AI assistant, and look, ta-da, I've got an app.
The thing is, you can't just use an image. Like, you got to do other stuff. That's he thought he had a puffball. It was actually a death angel, which can shut down your kidneys. So, and they're very similar.
The name sounds imposing.
Well, it's part of the Amanita genus, which is like, like you see a red mushroom with white bits on it. That's also Amanita.
But that will make me grow large and powerful.
Yeah, but not if you get the death angel, which is the white variant. That will just shut down your kidneys.
Well, obviously, it's a new year. You did some celebration. Maybe you had some pizza. Probably went to a party. But did you have this controversial pizza?
Italy divided over new pineapple pizza. It's just
We've
now
been
making
living
it
in this
Italy.
hell for some time.
Italy pineapple pizza. Some people are, this is good, and other people say no.
Do you guys like pineapple pizza?
No.
I don't hate it, but I'll eat it. I don't think it's awful. It's this sweet, salty combination. It works on some level.
I like pineapple, but I don't like it on pizza.
So this fella is like a super chef, I guess, and there's like a street in Italy somewhere where they have tons of pizza, and it's known as like, the pizza mecca of the world. Now, he says that this is not like your normal pizza. It doesn't have any tomato sauce on it, first of all. And those pineapples have been caramelized by being fried twice. And there's a special blend of cheeses. And it looks pretty good.
I might try it.
I like to see smaller chunks, though.
Yeah, that's huge.
I don't go out of my way to have pineapple on pizza, but
$7. I assume that's per slice, right? Because a $7 pizza like that is a huge bargain.
Italy.
Yeah, I think that's maybe less true in parts of Europe.
Well, food inflation, like those pizzas, is certainly hitting home here. And when you actually look at the numbers, it is staggering.
Chick-fil-A has raised its prices more than 20% as inflation rages.
Another reason not to go to Chick-fil-A.
They held out a long time, though. They were like, maybe it's transient. It was not transient.
Which shows you that whole, 5% per year? No.
Have they said the R word yet? Recession?
No, we're officially in a soft landing where inflation's going to go down. Nothing bad's going to happen to the jobs. Nothing bad's going to happen to the economy. And we're going to cut rates into the election.
But just this morning, I almost added this. The jobs number that had been up for the last 2 months was revised down 71K. And then if you look at and we added jobs again this month, but we also revised down 71K for the previous 2 months.
It's after the holidays. Usually, all the temp jobs are gone in January.
Well, the jobs that were added, 53,000 of them were government jobs.
And a lot, if you look under the hood, a lot of it is people losing a career job and picking up 2 gig
Yeah,
gigs.
and then it's now you're overworked and probably underpaid.
Yeah, and so
suffering.
Yeah.
it's not actually more jobs. Everything is bad.
But also they revised down the 2 months going into the holiday, which usually there's a ramp.
Yeah.
And when we pick up another proxy war in Yemen, we can put even more money in the money supply. And we'll all be eating the paste in our pods, but maybe that paste will be a little more delicious, and maybe Wendell can finally enjoy the taste of pork again.
Transgenic soybeans tastier than fake meat, or toward a tastier fake meat. New GMO plant inserted with pig genes to produce a pork alternative.
If it has the genetics, wouldn't that still flag?
I don't know. It's just a protein processing problem.
What if they add that and then you can't eat all the alternatives now?
Yeah.
I like black beans. I can get a lot of mileage out of black beans and rice at this point. You get so hungry that it's just this is fine.
I saw some of those black bean burgers at the store, and I was like, he's hyped those up so much. Maybe I'll try them. But they're packed with canola oil.
Yeah.
They got to get the flavor in somehow.
I keep meaning to send you the video of them. There's a video that's been circulating of them making sunflower oil, and it's just this sad cylinder of sunflowers, and they have to, and the oil doesn't start coming out until it's the tower of sunflowers is 30% of its original size.
No, I actually saw that, but that is just the pressing. The pressing is not the problem. It's the filtering and deodorizing and everything that comes after that.
Why do they deodorize it?
Because it's nasty.
It smells like sunflower.
Yeah,
but I like sunflower. I grow sunflowers.
The reason people didn't eat that garbage for so long is because it didn't taste good. It wasn't good. It wasn't a food grade product. But then after the Industrial Revolution, they were like, we got all these cotton seeds. Let's figure out a way.
It's weird. It's like taste is your body's way of saying don't eat that.
Yeah.
The birds love the sunflower seeds. I left all of my sunflower heads up, and they have picked them clean.
Well, I'll tell you, one of the things that I've always enjoyed is a good gas station pizza roll-up thing. Those are always good. I don't know why every gas station doesn't have those. But apparently in West Virginia, they have strong feelings about that.
I love this headline. This might be the
local interest story.
This is a contender for the best headline of 2024 already. West Virginia church says it is an abomination in the eyes of the Lord to put mayonnaise on a pepperoni roll.
I'm pretty sure that's not in the New Testament, but I'll accept it.
This is amazing.
Mayonnaise and mozzarella, I don't think is a good combination.
Cream cheese would be good on a pepperoni roll, I bet. Yeah.
I don't think so.
But mayonnaise is weird. I agree with them.
Marinara.
I was offended when somebody explained to me that cream cheese could be used as a cake icing, but it is actually pretty good.
Yeah, it is.
Cornbread made with cream cheese. You ever try that?
No.
You should try that. Food secrets. You'll only get them here. And when the time comes, Krista, and we're all ready to pack up our Starlink and our superconductive batteries, move into the woods, I think this is probably where we'll be going.
A new conservation easement in eastern Kentucky is one of the largest in state history.
This is great news. We have one long trail in Kentucky already, the Sheltowee Trace. There's a second one that's being made up near Pine Mountain, and this is part of that. So more land is being allotted for more conservation efforts and trails.
You gonna blaze this trail?
I might do it sometime, yeah. But it's like, it's a little overgrown in parts because it's not super well maintained yet, but I'd probably be willing to do it. They got 2 shelters on it.
You should do it on April 20th.
Last year when I did my trail, I didn't mean to schedule like my time on trail, but I actually did.
You were blazing it.
I was.
And here's a fun article about our inability to understand increasingly large numbers. And the number I think you got to keep in mind here, was it 34 trillion?
$34 trillion.
34 trillion is almost impossible for the human mind to comprehend, which is one of the ways that they control us.
There's a big difference in how your brain processes the number 4 and the number 5. What do you mean by that? It's like you just look at a picture of 4 or less things and you know immediately how many it is. But with 5, there's some counting and there's some other machinery that happens. And so different parts of your brain light up when you're looking at 4 or 5 things.
Have you ever had, here's a question, this might just be outing myself. When you turn the volume up on a television, do you stop at even numbers or at like increments of 5?
I stop when the volume is comfortable to my ears.
Yeah.
You gotta do it. I gotta do it by even numbers. I can't have it like at 37. It's got to be 38 or 36.
There used to be, I don't know, is there still a setting in Windows where you can change how many the volume jumps per mouse wheel? I think there was at some point. Messing with yours would be fun.
Oh, it's got to be an even number.
Because if you made it 3, then you could never.
No.
I was working on a build with Amber, and like I had to touch all of the fans in the computer, and she's like, "Why did you do that?" And I was like, "I don't know. I'm just broken in some weird way."
It's just got to be done.
And she was not prepared for that answer. It was kind of funny.
We're learning some weird things about everybody at this table.
Have you ever walked away and like got that cold chill and was like, I didn't touch the fans?
Yeah.
I get it. I understand that.
Sometimes it's useful to make sure there's not like a cable wedged in that you can't see, and it's like, oh, this fan will definitely free spin when I put the case on it, but then it's just like every time it's like, oh, that's slightly obsessive behavior. Interesting.
We need to come up with like a bad touch fan T-shirt or something. Like that. Well, if you are a young person and you are just getting out of high school and you're saying to yourself, where am I going to obtain my higher education? I would argue that you should really think about maybe not doing that because the current situation in higher education is just astonishing.
Harvard President Claudine Gay resigns, shortest tenure in university history. That doesn't seem like that should be the headline for this story.
The Harvard Crimson danced around it as much as they could. They did mention it. I actually did a search. I think they mentioned it 3 times. The reason she's being gotten rid of is because rampant plagiarism.
Ooh.
Her thesis, things she wrote since then, and things that she stole from other women who have come out and said, I can't believe that, this historic first woman president, minority, stole from me, a woman minority. Her, you should read her outgoing message, which is just disgusting.
It was also stolen.
That would be great, right?
As a large language model.
And I couldn't help but think about Wendell when I was reading this one because I was like, man,
I feel targeted.
He could totally do that. But at the same time, I mean, how much of a little snowflake are you on stage that you can't do your job just because one person doesn't care?
Andrew Scott halted Hamlet soliloquy after theatergoer used his laptop to email. And from the description of it, it sounds like the theatergoer was completely oblivious until the lady next to him was like, hey, put your laptop away.
He was doing the slings and arrows, to be or not to be soliloquy. And so he felt like that was like, a crowning moment of his night, I guess. This guy was just answering emails.
I mean, it is rude. Go in the lobby. Like, come on.
It's rude, but it's not as rude. I feel it's not as rude to the actor as it is to the people around you. You're going to get that blast of light.
Yeah. Just go in the lobby if you don't want to watch it. That's fine. Do you think he was there, like, unhappily, like with a spouse or something like that?
Nah, it was just probably one of these unrealistic work situations where it's like you have to be always ready to answer these emails. And what's an Olympic year? I guess that's something to look forward to. This will be a summer Olympic year, right? Well, I guess
the best Olympics.
Since it's not happening right now, that would have to be the case,
Yeah.
right? And we will have a new. Well, when I think of amateur sports, obviously I think of this name.
Snoop Dogg joins NBC's Paris Olympics team because obviously. Okay.
Like,
I mean,
for the coverage?
seems reasonable.
They were a little tight-lipped on exactly what he will be doing. It seems like he might be roaming Paris, just like taking in the culture. And someone will be
Culture
filming it.
correspondent.
Yeah.
It's just a cloud following him. Oh, wait, no, he doesn't smoke anymore. Oh, wait, no.
No,
that
that
was
was
the
a-
marketing
that was a
thing.
marketing
That
Yeah.
was PR. Yeah. Yeah, I think Snoop will definitely be trying the Parisian herb while he's over there. And we have to have at least one poop story. I really try my best to have at least one. This week we have two.
U.S. Customs to Indian travelers, please do not carry cow dung in your luggage. So there was a guy that had 2 patties of cow dung found in the... this was in D.C., so interesting.
Now, once again, an Indian story where I do not understand one aspect of it. What do you do with these?
Well, this could be
For a
used-
mid-flight snack.
Do you eat them?
No,
I don't think a human could eat that, right? Is that just for, like, is that a talisman? Because they claim that they think it protects against
construction material.
disease.
Have you ever looked it up? Google it real quick. We've got a couple more stories, but
Google what?
like, what do you do with cow dung?
Engagement challenge. And here's another poop story. Well, this is a nice little public service announcement because it turns out as long as you can see the serial number, it's all right.
It smelled so bad. Pennsylvania couple recovers $3,500 after dog eats the cash.
I'm so glad Rue's passed this stage.
It was originally $4,000 in cash, so this was still quite an expensive ordeal.
Well, it's funny you say that, Krista, because Cecil here, they said he was quite an old dog and he had never eaten anything, ever. And like other than dog food, he was totally cool about all of that. Didn't have any reason to worry, but something about this cash, he had to have it inside him.
Weird. Rue is our sweet little angel anymore, and Cricket is the devil. He got up on the counter last night, and we have a salt pig, which is like a ceramic thing where you keep salt in it. And I was in the other room, my husband was in the other room, and then we hear like a crash all over the floor. Salt
Shattered.
gone. Yeah, shattered. It's not good. He got in trouble for that.
I went through the counter thing, but I was able to eventually stop them as far as I know. Now, they might be there right now.
Yeah, you wouldn't know.
But when I'm there, and sometimes I'll leave food up there and it doesn't get eaten. So I don't know. I think there might be hope for you.
I hope so.
Also, how old is Cricket?
He is 3 years old.
Everybody told me, they were like, yeah, 2.5, 3.5, that's monster age. And once they get through that, they'll mellow out. And
Okay.
it kind of played out a little bit.
I don't know what it is. He's just constantly. I actually just bought him a new toy to keep him busy, like one of those like mind puzzle games for cats. Because I'm like, maybe he's just bored.
Try the cayenne pepper.
We've done tinfoil and we've done spray. I'll have to try cayenne pepper.
They make bitter spray, but then you have to put bitter spray all over your cabinet.
I did that with my old dog, and that only didn't really work.
Well, we did bring little apex predators into our homes. What can we expect? But there may be a disaster looming for other apex predators because the bird flu.
Bird flu kills the first polar bear as disease continues to spread. Oh, yeah, it's hopped a species. All right.
Yay! It keeps hopping species. Isn't that bad every time that happens?
Yeah.
Whatever happened to the bird guy who kept coming by the office?
He still
pops by?
He got a batch the other day.
What if he's just eating them?
He flies in.
He just gets those birds.
Fun times. Well, slow week. We'll have lots of CES news next week. Don't worry.
Yep.
I mean, worry, but not about that.
Just worry about just the general background worry and anxiety.
The economy is not amazing.
Anyway, that's it. Bye.